Yo guys, in this video I will teach you how you can accurately measure conversions when running your paid ads. This is the funnel that we're having. The funnel is built on the high level. The same logic applies to any funnel building software that you're going to be using. Let's say we're having two pages. This is the page number one, which is the opt-in, which is basically the logo, the GIF, the subtitle, the title to capture the user interest, and then we are gathering the name, the phone number, and the email. When we click unlock, the user goes to this VSL page. There is a title, VSL, and then the booking. So what we need to do, we need to track how many lead opt-ins we have, as well as how many bookings. When you go to your ad campaigns, if you this is creating a view. So let's start by creating the campaign. Now, of course, it does depend on the objective that you're having for the campaign, but because we are having what we call double opt-in funnel, meaning there is an opt-in and then there is a booking, usually we like to set the objective as the leads. And you say, okay, Eugene, but aren't we optimizing for the bookings? So shouldn't we, yes, choose the leads, but then in the actual goal, choose the schedules instead of the leads. And you will be able to choose it basically on the ad set setup stage where you are here optimizing for website and choose the data set, or let's say either the lead or the schedule. When we're running the double opt-ins, we optimize for the leads, even though the final objective is the schedule. And the reason for that is because we let the Meta know that we want to have more leads, right? To then narrow down our audience. So what you can then do, you can filter the type of the people who are opting in, only sending the conversion events for the people who are qualified. We will review that in a few minutes, but what I want you to know right now is that there are two types of the main conversion events that you can track, right? So the lead and the schedule. Usually we optimize the campaigns for the leads when we are running it for the local service contractors. The same thing applies to when we are running ads for ourselves. It's just a more efficient way to let Meta Algo know that we want to get more leads, and we feed it more leads in order for the algo to train faster. Now, the very first step that we need to do is to go to the funnel settings, and you go to the sites, funnels. Same logic applies to the websites, but we usually work with the funnels. And if we go right here, settings, we're having the ad tracking code. So this is the place where you're gonna place your pixel, okay? If we go into the ads manager, into the events manager right here, I already have it opened, you will go to the datasets. Now, again, Meta kind of changed the naming from pixels to datasets. They are still sometimes using the pixels here and there, but yeah, I know that it might be confusing. So I'm not going to create a new pixel right now, but what you need to know is when you are going to create a pixel or create a new data set, you are going to follow all the guidelines. So you can see, okay, connect a new data source, you can say web, next, and then you are going to be either choosing the current one, or if you don't have one, you're going to create one. You're going to follow the steps. At the end of the form, the reason why I don't want to show it, because this is the real account that we're using. I don't want to mess it up with multiple data sets to then confuse our people. You're going to be giving the code, okay, like a snippet. And it's going to say, hey, please input this code into your website. So you're going to get this code and input it into the ad tracking section right here. Okay, so this will be your pixel. Now, this is the base, okay, that you need to set up first. The problem with this setup is that it's not accurate, right? Facebook, because of the Facebook Meta, sorry for kind of confusing the names, but whatever, everyone knows that the Meta is Facebook. It's not on the Facebook side, it's just on the other, provider side like Apple, who are limiting the things that can be sent and tracked on the user devices. Means that when you're going to be trying to track the conversion events with only pixel, you might not get accurate results, and you 100% will not. right? Even if you have a pretty straightforward funnel like this, which is the lead and the booking. There are probably tens of different ways, probably like tens, how you can go about doing the tracking, right? So technically what you can do, you can embed like the other snippets on each page of the funnel. So let's say if you're going to this page, technically what you can do, you can go into the tracking code. So you can input the tracking code here, which is going to be a snippet specifically applied only to this page. And so, for example, when people land to this page, right, it can be tracked as the page view. Now you can go to the next page and basically input the same type of the snippet and say that now this is the lead. Meaning if the person is landing on this page, right, on this one, it means that he became a lead. So it sends the conversion event as a lead to the Facebook. Now, there's like, this is one way to do that. Another way of doing that is if you're using the high level, if you go to the forms, so let's say on this website, you're having a form, right? So each form has a dataset ID property. So if we go to the demo form, doesn't matter what form it is, if you go to the settings, you'll have the Facebook pixel ID or the dataset ID. Meaning if you input your dataset ID, and you can get that if you go to the datasets, settings, and yes, I mean, you have the dataset ID here or here. If you input it right here, it will automatically send, see, this on form submission, this event, right? And in our case, this is going to be the lead. This is the second way of doing that, right? But it's still limited. Maybe you want to send some value with a prospect, or maybe you want to pre-qualify people who are submitting the form. So you want to have more robust setup. And the way you're going to do that is by using the conversion API, okay? Again, it's pretty straightforward, bear with me. So let's say we are creating the workflow. This is our current setup. So we're having the landing page and we're having the booking page. Remember that across the funnel on all of the pages, we already installed the pixel, right? Okay, just want to make sure that we're on the same page. Sites, right here, funnel, settings, make sure you input it right here, okay? So if we go into one of our webinar pages settings, you can see that there is a head tracking code, right? So it's right here. So this is basically our pixel, right? So this is the first step. You input it, it's good. Then you are creating the automation. The first automation gonna be a trigger, which is gonna be a form submitted, and you're gonna choose this form that you create, okay? This is gonna be a form is, let's say it's going to be one prompt demo form, okay? Save. So when someone submits this form and goes to this second page, it means that this prospect is a lead because he provided us the information. What you're gonna do, you're gonna do the conversion, I think, meta conversion API block. And here you're gonna choose the integration, funnel event, access token, which you're gonna get from the settings, and the dataset ID. So the dataset ID, you put it here. The access tokens is also in the settings under the data set that you have created. If you scroll down, you're gonna see the setup direct integration. You're gonna click generate token. You're gonna generate this token, copy it, go here and paste it here. Then you're choosing the event that you're sending, the lead, and maybe you want to assign the value. Usually the value is assigned when we are running the low ticket funnels, right? So let's say when the user, instead of submitting the form, pays, $7 for a product, then you're assigning the value so that then inside Facebook, you can track how much money this campaign generated. The currency, test code, we're not using it, and we're not using the custom mapping, okay? So this is pretty much it, okay? So you save that, you publish the automation, and now you're good. It means that you're running the campaign, the pixel code is tracking all the visits, all the clicks accurately, and then whenever someone submits this form, you're running this automation, and it's submitting the lead event to the Facebook. Now, you also want to track the bookings. So you're gonna create a new automation right here, click the trigger, and it will be a booking, customer booked an appointment. This is a calendar that you chose. So you're gonna choose the same calendar. In calendar, let's say one prompt license strategy session, say, and then you're gonna do the same thing. Meta conversion, you're gonna use the same token, you're gonna use the same dataset ID, but now the event is going to be a schedule event. Usually we don't assign any value because usually the schedules are free, and you're saving it. So pretty much good. Again, there are multiple ways of doing that. This is just the way that we use that is very much accurate. It's not 100% accurate. There are delays of tracking the information, but this is the most accurate way of doing things using the pre-built tools, let's call it that way. Because you can go with a third-party software like Triple Whale, which are usually expensive, that allows you to have their own pixel that is tracking everything and connects with your meta, right? So now the Triple Whale originally was born specifically for the e-com. Now Alex Becker has the Hi-Res software, which is like even more expensive. We are right now thinking about, so I think we got the Hi-Res probably like 6 months ago on the demo. We like that, but we decided not to go with it. And now we're thinking about it right now even more because like we're spending $30,000-$50,000 a month on the ads, only for ourselves, plus more than $100,000 for the clients. So this is kind of the third-party ways of you tracking everything with 100% accuracy. But if you're not having the budget, or if you don't spend too much money on the ads, just by having the conversion API events, you're going to be good. It's going to track 96-98% of all the conversions. Again, the alternative option is for you to have the data set within the form, as I showed in the settings right here, but you also have the same thing in the calendar. So if you go into your calendar settings, right, if we check one of the calendars right here, and you're going to be having an option, if I'm not mistaken, to input the Meta Pixel ID right here. So the same way as you're doing with the form. So the form will send a lead request. Whenever someone books, it's going to send the schedule request. But again, it is always better to use the conversion APIs. And the biggest reason for doing that is the flexibility. So let me give you an example. Let's say we are going to be having a form, right? And let's say that this form is going to have multiple parameters that person can include. Usually we're doing it through the service, because the service are basically a multi-step forms, right? So when you can have like one page, and then from this page you're going to another page. So it's like a service, it's multi-step form, okay? But if we just focus on that, let's try to create a form and see how it works. If we create a form right now, we start from scratch. Let's choose a few standard fields. I mean, they're populated, so let's say they're required: first name, last name, phone number, email. Okay, actually we remove all these things. Let's pretend that we are trying to understand how much the person who is submitting the form is making, and we only like to get people who are high income earners. Okay, so by us putting it in the form, so there is a form, there are multiple questions. One of the questions gonna be like how much money you're making. Okay, and we're gonna do two things. All of the submits, like it doesn't matter if they're making, let's say, less than 100K a year or more than 100K a year, we are gonna send all of them to the booking page for sure. Okay, we might send them to the different page, but this is a whole nother story. But we only want to send conversion event, the lead event, to the Facebook for the people who are making more than 100K. This way, letting Facebook know that this is our ideal prospect. So try to find more of these prospects. Usually we don't do that. Again, because we are doing the volume. And obviously we're not doing it for our, local service contractors. But maybe for you, it's going to be relevant, so I want to show how you would do something like that. So you're going to create a form, and I think we have a custom field, money, income. No, so I think we should have some sort of a custom field where we ask how much revenue. I think it's revenue. Yeah, so I mean revenue. Let's say how much revenue you're making, right? So let's make it requirement, and we would do the label, like how much money are you making per year? Okay, so these are all the options. So we save it, right? So let's keep it as the form 11. We're gonna go to our funnel. We're gonna go to the funnel templates, opt-in, edit, and we're gonna replace the current form with this form. Okay, so we're gonna replace this form with the form 11. Okay, with this form. Okay, now again, so button action on the next step is gonna go here. So all of the people, doesn't matter what their income is, gonna go to the booking page. But the magic happens on the automation for the form submit. So let's say when the form is form form 11, right? So when they submit the form, before us sending the conversion event, what we can do is we can add a filter. So if statement, and then we're gonna say revenue. I think it's contact details, and we need to find the revenue custom field, okay? Revenue here. So let's say if the revenue is like this, right? We would need to like do it multiple times because there's not is one off. So let's say if the revenue is this, and we would say qualified, and this is gonna be no, and this is gonna be yes. So if the revenue is 0 to 20K, he's not qualified. Or if the revenue is now 20 to 50K. So you would say, okay, so if it's either 0 to 20, 20 to 50, or 50 to 100, okay, then this person will go to the no, okay? But if it's not one of these, meaning it's one of these, so this is the high income earner, then you would go to this branch and you would transfer that right here. And now if you save it, what it's gonna do for all the people who say that they're not making enough money, they're gonna go to the booking page, of course, for you not to lose the contact. So maybe they're gonna book the call. But for people who are making enough, you're gonna also transfer them to the booking, but you're also going to send the conversion event to the Facebook, okay? Now, what you also can do is, of course, assign different values. It depends if you're running the low ticket funnels and if you're tracking everything like that in your Meta account. So technically you can, assign value to this as 1, right? To the simple lead, and then assign value to the 10 for the person who is qualified. Meaning from just basic perspective, if the person spent, so if the Meta Facebook see that this prospect spent more money with your business, he is more qualified, and the algo will try to find more of these people. So now you're kind of sending all of the events just for you to see all the leads, on your Facebook ad account, but you are assigning them the different values, okay, in the currency. From the Facebook perspective, from the interface, you don't need to set anything here. So you're just creating the data set, you're getting the pixel ID, you're putting it in the site settings in the high level, then you're having the dataset ID that you can copy from here, and then you're also generating the token. That's pretty much it. Now, let's go back to the campaign creation. So here you're creating the campaign with the objective as the lead, setting the budget. Right here, you're choosing the website as the single source. You are maximizing for the number of conversions. You're choosing the data set, and you're choosing the conversion event as the lead. Again, you can technically choose the schedule because eventually for the people who are getting scheduled, the conversion event will be also sent, but you don't want to do that because it's going to be less people, and we usually never do anything like that if we're not spending like $2,000 a day on the ads for a client. Pretty much it. Okay, so these are all the standard settings. The last thing that I want to show you is how you would analyze the results. Okay, so let me delete this campaign. So let's say this is our campaign. Okay, so what you can do is you can have a custom preset, right? So let's say you're going to have a custom preset of columns, right? And within, even though you are optimizing for the leads, so the result right here will be the lead, right? So it's going to be like how many leads you got, and the cost per result is going to be a cost per lead because you're optimizing for the leads. But how would you also see how many bookings this campaign had, even though the results are the leads, because you're optimizing for the leads, you're not optimizing for the bookings, but you still want to see the bookings. Very, very simple. You're gonna just add the columns. Okay, so it's basically appointments, okay, right here. So conversions, and you're gonna have appointment schedules, okay? Usually you say the total and the cost per appointment. So you can see that we have it right here. So now you will see all the conversions that you're having, all the results, and you will also be able to see how many appointments this campaign generated you and what is the cost per appointment. So of course, this is the main metric that you need to judge your campaign on, even though you're optimizing for the leads. Anyways, I hope it was helpful, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm planning to do more of these technical tutorials in future. Put in the comments what type of the videos you want me to record next, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.